back, collectors of the Nerdiverse. Tis your favorite master of the Nerdiverse, collector extraordinaire Mike G. And we're back with another blistering episode of MOTN Figured It Out, where we take a moment to talk through my favorite hobby in the world, 1/6 scale collecting, and pretty much collecting in general. Now this is a live stream, so I then may be open to receiving questions, comments, concerns, as I go through what I found to be interesting since our last episode. Sorry for the slight hiatus. I had some personal business that absolutely needed to be addressed, but I'm happy to be back and talking figures with you, the ultimate collectors of the Nerdiverse. So, very happy to have returned and ready to talk some figures. My throat's a little out, so if you hear me coughing and hacking, I do apologize. So I'll try to minimize that as much as humanly possible. So tonight we're going to be talking about some mostly announcements. There's been some really big announcements in the world of 1/6 scale figures, and like one or two releases and some overall questions. So we got a lot lined up for the night. As always, if you like this content, please like our content on YouTube, like it on Instagram. 2D Odin is doing the Lord's work, helping us build our channel. Comment and subscribe. So hopefully everyone's having a good night. As you can see, this is episode 9, The Pharaoh's Snape. So I'm really excited to get started. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. First, let me just test chat. Make sure chat is active. Always got to test chat. Hey Toots, thank you for coming through. It's been forever since I've seen you. It's been forever. MOTN live Friday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So tonight we're going to start things off weird. Super weird. Because this bad boy was announced since our last episode. And I have to talk about the Jar Jar in the room. So Hot Toys has decided in their infinite wisdom to announce a 1/6 scale The Phantom Menace Episode 1 Jar Jar Binks. First thought impressions of this announcement. Let's get weird, indeed. First thoughts is, why not? I mean, for the crap that Jar Jar got throughout the history of Star Wars, there's somebody out there who wants this really bad. Jar Jar and little Anakin and Darth Maul was Star Wars for a whole generation. That was the beginning of their Star Wars journey. Yeah, I can say the same for myself. I wasn't around for, A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back. So my first time seeing a new Star Wars movie in the theaters was The Phantom Menace. Shoutouts to Mike Prime out there who took me to go see it first day, first showing. So Jar Jar may seem like an odd duck or whatever creature he is, but I promise you this thing's going to sell out because it's too iconic. I mean, for all the nonsense that Jar Jar gets in the hate and the vitriol that he's gotten over the decades, I think people have grown a soft spot to the Phantom Menace, particularly Jar Jar. So my first impressions are, sure, why not? Why not have a Jar Jar in your collection? So wanted to go through some slides here, some photos to just kind of give you a better idea what this figure brings to the table. And they kind of hook Jar Jar up. He has seamless silicone arms, so there's no joints or visible joints on this guy outside of the wrist pegs. And one thing about collectors in our hobby is that we want realism. We want it to look like a small person on our shelf. So eliminating as many seams as possible is absolutely the way to go. At first, I believe it was going to have joints, but they kind of heard the cries of the fans. Like, if you're going to make it right and make it look as real as possible, quote unquote. You know, it's an action figure, but he does have seamless joints, making him pretty seamless based upon his soft good clothing. He comes with 2 separate head sculpts, one a bit more serious, one goofy. He comes with 2 different eyes, one faded, one jubilant. So I think that's kind of interesting that they're giving a full set of eyes with him. They'll probably plug in and out. He has a detachable tongue, so you know he gets zapped in that one part of the Phantom Menace. You may be that may be your look. And he comes with a bunch of little things like his little bombs, and there's a sneak peek at a droid trooper from episode 1, so we may be getting that in the near future. So I'm really positive about this figure. I think it looks cool. I think if you're a Jar Jar fan, and if you're a, let's say, scene completist, this is one definitely to get, because from my understanding, Hot Toys hasn't made a lot of episode 1 figures. I don't think there is a episode 1 Anakin. I don't think there's a episode 1 Obi-Wan. I do know there was a Qui-Gon Jinn at some point down the line, but that was way back in the day before I was collecting. And of course, Darth Maul. So it's like, who would you pair this guy with? I don't know. Maybe a Stormtrooper? Nah. This was before Stormtroopers. They had droids. Maybe if you have a Qui-Gon and you're lucky enough to get one, maybe him. You know, my thing about collecting is like to pair my figures. So that's kind of a negative against Jar Jar here until something else is announced. So I think that's really the biggest negative I have against him, is that he's just going to stick out like a sore thumb in your collection for right now, because there's tons of Revenge of the Sith figures and there's tons of Attack of the Clones figures, but we don't have a lot of the Phantom Menace, maybe because it was such a hated movie but loved at the same time. Ton of Darth Mauls. Everybody else has kind of got shortchanged. So with that, let's ask the passing question: would I buy this? I think that's kind of the question I go through with every single figure I display. So would I buy this? Yeah, I would buy Jar Jar. Jar Jar rules, dude. I mean, exactly, Toots. Who would you pair him with? That's the only drawback for this figure, is that he really has no one to pair with, because there's not a lot of episode 1 figures made by Hot Toys, or anybody for that matter. The beautiful, perfect pairing would be Jar Jar, Qui-Gon, and Padawan, and Obi-Wan. But I don't think there's a Padawan Obi-Wan. So, and the only Qui-Gon was made like a decade ago. It's probably 4 times its cost right now. So, for me, I would get this as like a standalone, because this Jar Jar, anybody who's walking into your collection and sees this is going to automatically zero in on this figure and say, oh Jesus, why'd you get that? And it'll at least create conversation. This is absolutely a conversation starter figure. I think the design of the figure is really solid. It's pretty well streamlined. I like the switching eyes. I like the switching head. I like the switching mouth. You can clock in whatever particular facial expression you want. So for this guy, he's going to get Mike's approval. Thumbs up. Buy it. If you want it, buy it. Because I promise you're not going to get many Jar Jars again down the line. Cool beans. So unless there's any other questions from the chat, we're going to move on to the next figure. So this is kind of the heavy hitter since I've been away from the game, since I haven't done an episode. This is the announcement of the Harry Potter, I want to say the Half-Blood Prince version of Severus Snape. Yep, from InArt Figures. Wow. This is not a photo of Alan Rickman, God bless his soul, rest in peace. This is an action figure. This is a 1/6 scale figure with a shrunken person head sculpt. This thing, I hate to say it, is kind of beyond comprehension. It can't be this good when it comes out. First impressions. Wow. Like, I'm not even a big Harry Potter guy. Anybody will tell you. I watched the movies just like anybody else, but I was never really into it like some people are. Potterverse and all that stuff. But I've always liked Snape because his character is so interesting. He's almost the crux of the entire story if you follow it all the way through. He's an extremely important character and a kind of a nexus point for Harry and the group. Just for some background, InArt has created 1/6 versions of the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, and Hermione Granger. So they're out there. They're not easy to find because I think Harry's completely off the face of the earth. I think people will just kind of like nuked Harry Potter. If you didn't get it, you didn't get it. Or you're going to be paying out the butt to get it. I think there are some Ron Weasleys floating around, and I don't think Hermione has launched yet. But this guy looks insane. Let's get into some of the photos. So, thing about InArt is that they really don't mess around. You know what I mean? They're kind of the accuracy big dog in the pond right now. They cost more, and Hot Toys puts out more product, but InArt really just nails their figures. I don't know what witchcraft they're doing to make them look this good, but oh my goodness, it doesn't come with a lot. That's the only thing I would say negatively with this figure, but I guess he doesn't have to. He comes with his wand. He comes with an accoutrement of witches things for the practice of the dark arts. I think that was his class. He comes with a full array of different kind of styles. You can rock him with the cape. I think he comes with a jacket that you can wear, and he comes completely like with this military style coat. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do this guy. Of course, he has rolling eyes, so you can lock in that pose. The stoic head sculpt of Alan Rickman. The costuming, I think that's where InArt really shines, is that their costuming is above everybody else. I think their tailoring and their stitch work is second to none, even above the head sculpts, because sometimes Hot Toys can outdo them on the head sculpts, like in the Joker, you know, in the Dark Knight Joker, but for the most part, they can never touch them when it comes to the stitching and clothes work. So this thing is phenomenal, but it has to pass the would Mike buy it, would I recommend it test. And truthfully, yeah, truth be told, Nerdiverse, this may be my very first InArt purchase. I may have to save up for this one because I don't necessarily need the whole gang. I don't need Harry, Hermione, and Ron. I can just have Snape standing by himself, kind of like I have my Jack Sparrow down there. Unboxing video coming soon. And he can you would just know, right? It's kind of like opposite of Jar Jar, right? Jar Jar can stand alone and get ridiculed. And why do you have that in your collection? And this Snape can stand alone on your shelf. People walk in and say, Jesus Christ, that looks crazy. So this is one that I highly recommend. InArt's figures don't last long, guys. One thing I would like to stress about this hobby is that once they make them, that's it. There is no restock. There is no second run. They're kind of fly by the seat of your pants, whether you want it or not. And I think it's a way of FOMO, because why can't they do that? But that seems to be the nature of the game. There are no redos. So if you want it then and there, put a pre-order on it and start saving, because this guy's not coming out anytime soon. So you'll have time to save and put some money together for him if you really want him. So this is a high recommend. This is probably one of the best figures I've ever seen with my own two eyes in this hobby just yet. This thing looks insane. I can't say enough about it. So with that said, unless there's any questions or comments in regards to this figure, I'm going to move on to the next character. Once again, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you're enjoying the show and enjoying the figures, enjoying the conversation. This is a conversation, so if you want to ask me a question or say anything in the chat, let me know. I won't bite. Hard. Okay. I'm gonna geek out for a second. Okay, so please bear with me. If I scare you, I'm sorry. This is the Darth Nihilus from Knights of the Old Republic to the Sith Lords from Hot Toys. What is going on? Like, what? No, stop. Like, what is actually going on over there in the minds of Hot Toys and how they make things? Okay, just full transparency. Like this video too, please. Like. Look. This thing is from my favorite video game of all time. And I said that about Darth Revan, but he's also from my favorite video game of all time. This is from Knights of the Old Republic 2, made by Obsidian Games. I've beaten this game maybe 200 times, if I'm really being completely honest. He is, I think, the second to the last boss, no spoilers. And he, for background, is one of the most powerful Jedi I've ever seen in any port of media. Just so you can kind of put him in some perspective of like, who is this character? I don't know who this is. One, play the game. It's on Xbox Live. Play that now. Play it. But to make you think about it, Darth Nihilus is akin to Star Wars' version of Galactus in power and in purpose. He is a wound in the Force and is a black hole in the Force. So he goes to planets and sucks it of all of his Force energy and pretty much kills the planet because Force is life. So he goes from planet to planet in a derelict ship and steals a planet's worth of Force at a time. This guy is metric tons powerful, ridiculous. He has red and purple Force lightning. He doesn't even talk. He only speaks in evil mums, dog. You have to see it in through telepathy. He's too real. And he is now a 1/6 scale figure. I don't know what's going on. It's like they want my pockets immediately. To pair him with Darth Revan, and I'll get to that, would be insane. So my first initial thoughts on this guy is, Jesus, what are they doing? Like, why you gotta do me like this? You know what I mean? Is this a perfect rendition of the character? No, there's certain things that are off based upon the video game because they have to make it look somewhat realistic, but it's Nihilus. It's him, dude. He comes with an LED light up lightsaber. Yep, he does light up as well. He absolutely does light up as well. Let's talk about that. So he comes with a LED light up lightsaber. He comes with the translucent purple and red Force lightning, and that's about it. He doesn't have a lot to him. He's one of those figures that don't necessarily need every bell, every whistle, because in the game he didn't have that. He doesn't have a blaster. He doesn't carry multiple lightsabers like General Grievous, shout out Grievous, or Darth Revan. He's just a badass MFer, dude. He's just super real. As you can see, because there's not a lot to him, there's just a lot of blogger photos. One cool thing that they're hinting to is, if you notice on the photo on the far right hand side, the character they're showing is a tease of light side Darth Revan. So normally Darth Revan is a Sith Lord. That's why he's in all black with the red lightsaber and all that. But he does eventually become good, and he becomes a Jedi again in the game. So there is a light side version, and then they are hinting that they're making that too. So bully for them. Sneak preview. No, I will not be getting that because that's not the one that showed up in the video game, and I don't honestly need two Revans. You know what I mean? Now, let's get to the brass tacks. Would I purchase this figure? Would I recommend it to anyone? You know what I mean? So, this is tough because I already have two Sith Lords. I have Darth Vader, arguably one of the best villains of all time, and Darth Revan, arguably my favorite video game character of all time. So to add a third Sith Lord for my small collection doesn't make sense right now, right? Like, my collection, as you can see in my background, what you see is my collection. It's very humble, it's very small. I want to keep it that way. I don't want a ton of figures. I just want ones that represent me. And Darth Nihilus, as cool as it is, in any other circumstance, I would pick him up. But in my current circumstance, I don't need him for representation. for right now. I may pick this up later down the line and just pay the extra. You know what I'm saying? If this was Bastila or the droid assassin, his name escapes me at the moment, from the same game, I might be like, yeah, because I need a Jedi. My collection needs a Jedi right now. I only have Obi-Wan. I want a new Jedi. So another Sith to my already Sithy collection. That's something that, it breaks my heart, but it's something that I wouldn't get right now. I kind of want a Palpatine if I was to get any other Sith, because the Emperor is so important to the story. And mind you, this guy is the second to the last boss of Knights of the Old Republic 2. So there is a secret last boss that I won't spoil because it's a huge spoiler. But if they made them, I would absolutely get that figure because that's pretty cool. But for this guy, as cool as he is, as much as it pulls on my heartstrings, I have to be responsible and I have to hold within the course of my collection and pass on this one for right now. Pains me to say, but I think that's an important lesson in 1/6 scale collecting, is that you collect within your means. If you got the money and you got the space, it ain't tricking if you got it, man. Go nuts. Buy whatever the hell you want. But if you're balling on a budget, like me, and you have to be very careful and very specific with your choices, choose smart. Choose with your heart. That's what I'm going to say on that. Is there any questions, comments, concerns before we move on to the next figure? Oh, man. Drink more water, people. Water is life. Water is life. Moving on. All right. And now for something completely different. So, Hot Toys has announced a Batman Begins Scarecrow 2.0. I didn't know there was a 1.0 because I'm so new to the hobby, but here we are, Scarecrow from technically the entire Dark Knight trilogy. This outfit doesn't really change as he appears in all three movies, because he does appear even a little bit in all three films of the Dark Knight trilogy. So he can fit with your Bane, he can fit with your Joker, and especially your Batman Begins Batman or Dark Knight Batman. Initial thoughts on this guy. I mean, it comes with a little bit of everything you need for this character. Is Scarecrow like my favorite? Cillian Murphy with the head sculpt, yo. We're gonna get into that. Flawless Cillian Murphy head sculpt. What is he the most important villain of the Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy? No, but you know what he is? He is a figure that is completing somebody's shelf. And it's so important to focus on shelf completers, because they will make every superhero under the sun but not make villains. And I like to pair my characters. I like to make a scene, pair them in 2s, pair them in 3s. So having a ton of Batmans is nothing to me. I want the villain to go with him, which is why one of my favorite displays back there is from The Batman with Robert Pattinson. I was able to buy a third-party Riddler to pair with him to complete the look. And to tell you, that's her favorite display in my collection. So with this guy, he would pair perfectly with a Batman Begins Batman, if you have one, or if you want to buy both. Because the good thing about the Batman Begins Batman is that there's a lot of them out there on the third-party market, and they're really not going for that high. So you can probably get one maybe close to retail to pair with this guy. So let's go into a bit more of the nitty-gritty with him. So this guy pretty much comes with everything. He comes with the rolling eyeball system, Cillian Murphy head sculpt. He comes with a standard Scarecrow mask with, once again, rolling eyeballs. And he also comes with the hallucination maggot-infested mask that is super sick. Also rolling eyeballs. They give you 3 head sculpts with this, guys. Nerdiverse. Love that Riddler. And he comes with a suitcase. He comes with a bunch of little accoutrements. He comes with his smoke gas. He comes with his lighter from that scene where he puts Batman on fire. I mean, what more can you ask for in a 1/6 scale figure? I think this guy is aces. I think this is a top-notch figure. That head sculpt alone is enough to make you scream. Because, I mean, look how, it's just, they nailed it. It's just, they nailed the look. And I know you're seeing a lot of good head sculpts from Hot Toys. It's not always the case, even now. Sometimes they don't get the head sculpt right, and it looks weird. So when they do get it right, you have to give them their praise. So in this case, I'm absolutely in love with this figure. I think it looks great. I think they give you a lot of options in regards to posing and making it yours. And I think, once again, this will pair with any character you may have in the Dark Knight trilogy. Even if you have just the Joker. Now you have the both villains are two of three villains from the Dark Knight. You have Scarecrow, and you have Joker, and I think there's a Two-Face floating out there somewhere too, but it's kind of gnarly in a bad way. It's a bad head sculpt. Wink, wink. So I guess this figure now has to fall under the question: would Mike buy this? Would Mike recommend it? And honestly, yeah, I like figures like this. I like figures that pair with the characters you already have. We need more figures like this. We need more Ironmongers. We need more Baron Mordos. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need more, not Lokis, because we have a ton of Lokis. We need more like Baron Zemos. You know what I'm saying? We need more villains to accompany our hero collection. You know, and we just don't get enough of them often. They'll sell 1,000 Iron Men because they sell, and 1,000 Spider-Man, but we have to bend their arm to get a Penguin or a Catwoman. So this figure is going to be a grail for a lot of people because they want that completist. They want that updated sculpt. They want those 3 sculpts. They want the tailoring on the suit looks crazy. That's a seamless figure. There's no, because of the creases, there are no seams in this guy. It's a human. It's a small little human in your collection. So yes, would I recommend this guy? 1,000%, 100 yeses. Complete your collection, ladies and gentlemen. This may be the one that fills the hole that Batman is just occupying. Give him a villain, make it look cool, pose it in a cool way. You can see in the photo in the far left hand, they have the Batman Begins Batman like in a blocking pose, in a defensive pose. That looks cool. Like, if you wanted to make Scarecrow the focus of that particular scene, get creative with these things. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to pose your figures, especially ones like this where there's not going to be a lot of stress on the figure because it's made of cloth, and that cloth is very flexible and malleable. So abso-freaking-lutely, pick up this figure. I think it's aces. If you need it, get it. Collect what you love. Is there any questions, thoughts, concerns about the Scarecrow before we move on to our next figure? Silence equals compliance. So let's go. The vapor and smoke is added, right? Absolutely. That is not a CGI illusion. That is a part of the figure that attaches to him. So that's going to come in the box for your posing. Vapor not included. Did it say that? Hold on. No, okay, you tricked me. I thought it said vapor not included. No, I believe it comes with it, so you should be fine there. Toots Odin, Queen of Demaskara. All right. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. So what you see before you, oh shit indeed. They released, and it's out in the wild, is the feral predator from the recent film Prey on Hulu, the recent Predator film based in the, I think, 1600s Native American Canada. Before I move forward, if you haven't seen this film and you like the Predator series, you like the Alien series, you mess with Predators, whatever, watch this movie, please. It's really, really, really good. And it gives you a whole new view on the predators and how long they've actually been doing this hunting humans. And this is the 1/6 scale figure. Oh, this figure's been through a lot, and we'll talk about it more in the details section. But my first initial thoughts is Hot Toys mostly sticks with certain brands to bring them in money. They will do a ton of Marvel. They're doing a ton of Star Wars right now. And that's about it. Everything else is kind of piecemeal. Some DC things, and when I say DC, I mean Batman. So it's really the pillars of Hot Toy sales, or what they are, the content they create, the figures they create, is mostly Marvel, Star Wars, and DC. Everything else is kind of throw away. If it's a popular character, they'll roll the dice. Jack Sparrow is the first figure that I bought outside of those three, and he's glorious. And that's not even the artisan version. So when they take a swing and do something like the Predator, you stand at attention. You notice, you're like, wow, they are doing something outside of their wheelhouse. And they sure did with this Predator. They absolutely killed it. From what I see in comparison, this guy is huge. He is super big. I think he's like 14, 15 inches. He may be taller than Darth Vader. I would need to get one in hand to see. But this thing is huge, has tons of details. They did updates to the sculpt, which is super important, I'll go into. And they did updates to the body. So first impressions of this figure is, Jesus, this is something that we need. I'm going back to the pairing your characters. We need weird stuff from these big companies, not third party, where the figure is kind of half done. We need serious effort from our biggest hitters. And this is one of those. Toots, check this out. This guy comes not only with the light up biomask, but you can take that off and reveal the Predator face screaming at you crazy style. This guy comes with, I think, 2 or 3 different mandibles, so it's more of like a subdued one and one of a screaming version. I don't think he has rolling eyes, but I could be wrong. The details in the head sculpt is out of control. The hair is individually braided, so those are individual dreads or streams, so it makes it a whole lot easier to pose this guy. It's not the plastic hair syndrome where you pretty much have a plastic Barbie and his head can only tilt a certain amount. So you can pose this guy any kind of way. When this first was announced, he had a giant seam in the middle of his stomach. It was just like a flexible seam, and a lot of the industry complained that it looks weird. It looks like an action figure. We don't like it. So they went back to the drawing board and gave us a seamless body to go with this figure, and it looks absolutely sick, dude. The only seams on this guy that are really visible are the arm joints and the leg joints, which is super, almost unavoidable for a figure like this. It's hard to do silicone when it has so much stuff on it. I got too much stuff on me. This guy is a shelf stealer. He's going to be huge. He comes with a ton of different weapons. It's a Predator, so it's going to come with a ton of weapons. He has his signature Wolverine claws. He has his staff that breaks down in 5 different directions. He has like the little throwing star. He has his battle shield. I even think he has a bio blaster on his shoulder. So you're getting your bang for your buck with this figure. The drawbacks, of course, the elephant in the room, is the seams, the action figure seams on the arms. The legs I can kind of let pass because it's behind the character, so you're not really going to see that. But on the arms, it's a lot more visible. If you can see that middle shot, there's a giant peg. It's so ugly. But with proper posing, you can hide that away. Like look at the pose on the top right hand side. With the hair in its way, with the arm aimed a certain way, you can hide those seams fairly easy and be happy with your shelf presence. The details in this guy is insane as any Predator. There's all types of hidden little nooks and crannies in his gauntlets, in his belt, in his weaponry, and of course in his biomask, which every single Predator has. Man, I won't shut up about this because they don't do this often. They don't make horror characters. that often. Hot Toys. That's usually a sideshow thing where the figure's kind of meh. You know what I'm saying? So them stepping out of the comfort zone and making a horror figure and making a standalone horror figure is goated. It's like, please keep doing that. Take chances. Now, the immortal question. Would I buy this? Would I recommend it? The thing about it is that what I really want with this character, and it goes back to something I preach over and over, is we need companions. We need somebody to go with this guy. You know what I'm saying? And it would be nothing cooler than to make a Naru, the female protagonist of the film, to go with him. She comes with so much cool stuff. She can have the glow-in-the-dark eye makeup from when she defeats the Predator. She can have her cool little boomerang hatchet. She can come with guns and bow and arrows and all types of cool stuff. Why isn't she with this guy yet? Maybe time will tell. But for me, if this was like a city hunter from like Predator 2 or a jungle hunter from Predator 1, it'd be an absolute no-brainer. Because that guy can stand alone. You don't need Arnold. Just have the most iconic monster of all time, the Predator. Only second or third to the alien, the xenomorph. Yeah, but this is a very unique Predator. And the thing about it is a lot of new collectors don't have Predators because Predators came out years ago. So there's not a lot of people like me in the community who have access to a Predator. Or they're getting an old Predator at 4 times the price. And nobody wants that. So my suggestion would be kind of a cop-out, but not. And what I mean by that is, if you love this movie, if you love Prey, and this is your Predator, and you think it's badass, please buy it. This thing is going to be a shelf stealer, and it's going to be totally cool. But if you're waiting on that dream Predator, and you just want one, you only need one in your collection, I have a strong feeling that Hot Toys is going to redo the City Hunter, or redo the Jungle Hunter, and then you'll have your iconic Predator 1, Predator 2, Predator. But, or if you just want something cool on your shelf, if you just want something horror, something big and imposing, get this guy. This is a good figure. But if you want that one and only, this is my Predator representation, you may want to exceed a little patience. Because I have a gut feeling that new Predator figures are coming down the pipe. Because once you get a license like this, they tend to milk the well as much as they can. With that being said, is there any thoughts, comments, concerns about this figure before we move on? All right, let's go. Now we're going into our discussion section. Just last 2 slides of the deck are discussion pieces that I like to ask the chat and ask you guys out there in the comment section, like, comment, subscribe, well, your ideas on certain topics. So the first ones is Hot Toys recently announced that they're going to make a line of Thunderbolts figures based on the Thunderbolts film. And as you can see here, I think we have Ghost in the back there. We have Red Guardian. We have Black Widow. We have Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. And I think that's Taskmaster back there. But my question is, will we get anyone else? Will we even get these guys? Because they did this before and they haven't followed through. And that's with the Deadpool and Wolverine line. They teased that they were going to release all of the figures that they announced from the Outcasts, which is Gambit, Elektra, and I think there was one more. But they did release Blade and they did announce X-23. Do you think they'll still do it if the movie tanks? No. Hot Toys has been known to do that before. In the Flash line, the Flash was supposed to get multiple figures. He was supposed to come with himself, the evil Flash, and I think one more figure, but they only released Supergirl, Flash, and Batman. So they actually canceled those figures because the movie tanked so much and it was getting such bad reactions from the community. So there is a precedent for that, Toots. That if the movie bombs, that they may cut back to save money because they feel like the general audience or the general community is not interested in these figures. But from my understanding, the movie's doing fairly well. I'm hearing positive things about it, but there's always a chance it tanks, just the way it is. So they're trying their hardest to keep it relevant in the zeitgeist. But do I think we'll get this figures? Like Toots mentioned, it really depends on how the movie does. If it's a box office hit like Deadpool was, yeah, we may get 3 or 4 figures out this. But if it tanks, we're probably, just for them to save face, get 1 or 2. So we may, our 3. I think the 3 we're going to get is Yelena. I think we're going to get Red Guardian because there's no Red Guardian. And I think we're going to get Sentry. I think we're going to get a evil villain Sentry because he's a really popular character. If I was to pick the 3 that I think they're going to do. So with this question, I ask you, do you think we're going to get everybody? According to Toots, she thinks that we won't, based upon if the movie tanks, and I can concur with that. But I think we're at least going to get 2 or 3 figures out of this. Maybe not the whole line, but time will tell. What do you think, chat? This is the time to pipe up and ask me a question before we move to our final slide. Hydrate. All right. So we're going to move on. Are they still going to make the Deadpool and Wolverine figures too? Did they? I did see X-23 though. Yeah, they made a lot from Deadpool and Wolverine. They may have 2 or 3 different Deadpools. Wolverine is on his way. Shirtless Wolverine is on his way. Blade is on his way. And I want to say X-23 is on her way. So they made about 4 or 5 figures out of that. So I think they're going to cut it off, and we're just going to have to wait for Gambit and Figure Purgatory, which they love doing. We're probably not going to see Gambit or Elektra, which is sad, because I kind of wanted a Gambit. But they did make a bunch of figures from that because the movie did so well. But will they make more? I honestly don't know. And lastly, does Andor Season 2 need figures? I'm all caught up with Andor Season 2. It's getting rave reviews. People seem to like it. Think it's one of the best dramatic forms of live action Star Wars there is out there. Maybe that's a bit of a hyperbole, but its popularity can't be denied. And Hot Toys does like to throw its curveballs when it comes to the figures they announce. Just for some background, there is no Cassian Andor figure, not from Andor Season 1 and not from Rogue One. There is no Mon Mothma, from my understanding. And there's only one general, I forget his name, I think it's Krieger, but he was from Rogue One, and that's a really sought after, expensive figure. One of their best head sculpts they've ever done. So my question to you, chat, and to you out there, do you think that Andor Season 2 needs figures? Because I'm of 2 minds of it. Like Andor Season, there's a lot of character representation here for collectors that want this side of Star Wars. Andor would be cool. He comes with a bunch of different stuff. He has a little robot you can add with him. Of course, General Krieger has the flowing cape, white suit, iconic look. But do we really need a Mon Mothma? Like, what would Mon Mothma come with? Unless she comes with the giant Senate. If she comes with like the giant Senate dome, that would be absolutely insane, but where are you going to put that damn thing? Yeah, the costume alone will be sick to see. Yeah, I think Hot Toys would really kill it with the costume design with this character. With these characters. But like, how many figures could you squeeze out of Andor? I think Cassian, maybe the robot. We can redo the robot again. I think they're doing that. Definitely Mon Mothma. Definitely Krieger. And maybe the Forrest Whitaker character. Who talks like this. You know, everybody's a traitor. So there's characters they can do, but it doesn't come with a lot. It's not going to have a lot of accessories. At the most, it'll have cool bases. You know what I mean? So I ask you, Nerdiverse, would you want figures from Andor Season 2? Would you want Cassian Andor for your collection? Would you want a Mon Mothma? You know what I'm saying? to complete your Star Wars collection? Would you want a giant, I think K98 is the name of the robot, I may be off on that number. Pipe up in the chat. I'm super curious to see what you would want. Toots is already saying hell yeah. She would love to have some of these figures just for the costuming alone. Yeah, I would probably get an Andor and a Krieger and call it a day. Between me and you, I think they have cool representation. If they do a good job on a specific look for Andor, that'll be cool. Any thoughts, comments, concerns on this comic before we close this bad boy out? All right. And that brings us to the end of our episode. So I always like to chill out for a second and see if anybody has any questions in the chat, and be able to answer those before we close out. Does anybody have any thoughts, comments, concerns, feelings? Are you excited for these figures? Are these garbage? Let me know. I'm curious to hear what you think. Thank you, Toots. I really enjoy doing these. I love talking figures with you guys because it's one of my biggest passions, and it's a community that's so warm and a community that's so inviting that I really want to be a part of. So if you like this comment, as I always say, please like this episode. Please like on YouTube. Please like this on Twitch if you're with Twitch. Yeah, that Snape is absolutely insane. I'm probably going to end up getting that. Comment, is there a figure that came out that I didn't touch, like the Dark Side Anakin, that you wanted to talk about? And subscribe to our channel so you know when new content is up on the channel, or if new content has been dropped, you'll be notified that you can watch it. With that, I'm of course your gracious collector host, Mike G, and I will always tell you to love what you collect and collect what you love. See you next time.